Welcome to week 2 of Ripple Ashtanga Yoga. So today we are going to just go over a couple of things, and then when we get on the mat, we're going to learn suryanamaskar B, and then padangustasana and padahastasana. So suryanamaskar B, sun salutation B, is kind of like our second warm up after our first sun salutation that you've been practicing after last week. And then we're going to move into the first two poses of the standing sequence. But just a few things that I wanted to go over before we get into the practice part. I just wanted to speak a little bit about breathing, and then specifically the ujjayi breathing that we use in Ashtanga. Okay, so this is just one of my favorite facts that I've ever learned about anything, but it's about the breath. And so I learned this in a Vipassana retreat. So we have like our voluntary and involuntary actions and things that go on in our body. So, for example, like a voluntary movement that we can do. If my arm is here and I think, okay, I want to raise my arm above my head, I can just do that. So I can voluntarily or consciously lift my arm over my head. If I want to turn my head to the left, right, I can think of that and then I can do that. And so, really, all of these like movements that we do with our body, we can decide, okay, I want to do this, and then I do that. And then we also have a lot of involuntary systems that are constantly going without us having to think about it that keep us alive, right? So, like our heart beating and our blood moving through our body, our digestive system, our lymphatic system, all of these things that are going on without us having to think about it that keep us alive. And the breath is the one thing um, that is both involuntary and voluntary. So it's a thing that we need to keep us alive. And if we don't think about it, it automatically just goes on its own. And we don't have to consciously always think about breathing in order to stay alive. But if we do decide we want to control our breath, we can. So I can sit here and say, okay, I'm going to inhale for 5 seconds, and I can do that. And so on. And so we have this ability to control the breath. But again, in order to keep us alive, it continues on even if we're not thinking about it. And so a lot of mindfulness practitioners, a lot of meditators will say that that is why the breath can be used as this bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind. And when we start to have control over the breath, we can start to understand or even release some of our unconscious or subconscious patterns and thoughts. So I just think that's really, really cool. And it's really awesome that, right, it's kind of already embedded in the yoga practice. And so then moving to ujjayi breathing, which again we talked about last class, is the breath that we use in Ashtanga Yoga. And I kind of just briefly explained it, but I want to just give you an exercise that you can practice on your own, that my teacher Liza in San Diego would have us do often before we began our practice for the day. But again, ujjayi breathing, we breathe through our nose for both the inhale and the exhale. And it's breathing with sound. So again, it's supposed to kind of like mimic or sound like the ocean, like coming in and going out. And so you're breathing with sound, and it's not just through the nose, it's like up in like the throat, and you're kind of constricting like the airflow. And so it sounds like this. And just one other thing about Ashtanga, we don't typically listen to music or any like noise while we practice, and it's because you're supposed to be listening to like the rhythm of your breath, again, to sound like that ocean wave coming in and out. Okay, so like a fun way to practice this that she would have us do, I'm going to explain it and then I'll show you, and then we can do it together. Um, You basically, you kind of like crouch down, like you bend your knees, your hands are on your knees. You take like an inhale and then you exhale and you fully release the exhale. So even once you feel like your exhale is like fully out, you push a little bit more to keep that exhale out and get all the air out. Then while you're holding the exhale out, you like suction in and up your stomach. So that's again, you're holding the exhale out. You do that, and then you just sit and wait. So you're holding that lock in, you're holding that exhale out. And eventually, again, because the breath goes automatically, right? It's one of those involuntary things. Um, Eventually, this inhale is just going to like push into your body. And it kind of makes a really funny noise. Um, and that's the ujjayi breath. Um, and that they say is like the full extension or the full expression of an ujjayi breath. And so um, it's just a nice practice to get us to understand like where that breath should be coming from. And then in the actual practice, like we only use like a percentage of that, but it's a nice practice to kind of understand what that breath is. Before we do that exercise, I just want to do like a quick, simple breathing exercise. So just to really get us to focus on the breath and bring our awareness inside. So before we do that, we're just going to do a simple breathing exercise together. So go ahead and just close your eyes, sit up tall, but sit comfortably. Exhale, and then we're just going to inhale really slowly for 5 seconds. So inhale, exhale for 5. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then we're just going to do that again, but this time we're going to add a couple kumbakas or like holds. So it's like a 4-part breath. So we're going to inhale, still just a 5, and then we're going to hold the inhale in, and then we're going to exhale, release, and then we're going to hold the exhale out. And I want you to just, again, go internal, right? Bring all of your awareness inside. And I want you to just feel how each part feels. Um, and just notice if like any part is easier or if it's more difficult or just like kind of how it goes for you. So just try to keep your awareness internal and really feel each piece. Um, okay, so go ahead and close your eyes again. We're going to inhale for 5. Hold that inhale up at the top. Exhale for 5. Hold it out. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold out. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold out. Inhale and go back to your regular breathing. So just notice how that felt. And that's just a like easy, quick breathing exercise you can use. Whether you want to do that before your practice, just to kind of like slow yourself down, or as we kind of briefly talked about in the first class, it's also something you can take off your mat. So I don't know if you're feeling this, but when I breathe like that and control my breath and slow it down, I mean, my whole nervous system feels very calm and relaxed. And so it's just something that you can do off your mat in your daily life anytime you're feeling anxious, stressed, just worked up, or just like you're going too fast. You can use that easily to slow yourself down. Um, oh, there's so much to say about breath. I think also just one last thing I want to say before we do the ujjayi breathing exercise is just that the breath really is just this miraculous thing that we all have access to. I mean, there's all these trends, right, of like wellness. I mean, including yoga, fasting, cold plunges, saunas. Like, I mean, it's just endless. Like all of these things that are really good for wellness. Drinking like purified or spring water. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But I think the most simple and I think the most effective thing that anyone can do for cleansing and for wellness is just breathing deeply and slowly. I used to have one of those like counter like tickers that you can, you click. And there was a while where I would just like keep it with me all day. And like every time I took like a very intentional, focused, controlled breath, I would count it. Um, but again, just taking a very slow and controlled inhale and exhale is the best thing that you can possibly do for your health. And if you do that like many times throughout the day, like that is excellent. Um, and a tip I heard recently too, when you're thinking about doing that, it's just like you're controlling how much air goes in at a time. So you're really taking in little bits of air for a longer period of time. And there's just nothing better for you than that. Okay, so now jumping back to ujjayi breath. So, like I explained, okay, so we're just going to crouch down. I'm going to explain it again. We're just going to crouch down. We're going to just like take a normal breath. On the exhale, we're going to exhale everything out, even push out past when you think when you think you have no more air left, push the rest of the exhale out. Then you're going to hold that like we did in the last exercise. You're going to hold the exhale out. And while you're holding the exhale out, you're going to draw in and up your gut and you kind of want to like hollow it out. And then you're just going to like sit and wait. And again, the breath is meant to keep you alive. So there's going to be an inhale that's going to like just push through you. And again, sometimes it makes a really funny noise, but that is a full ujjayi breath. So let's try that together. So sitting here crouching, take an inhale and then exhale all your air out. Hold it out and suck in your belly. Right there. Okay. So do it again. And sometimes you have to wait longer. Just it depends on when that inhale is going to come in. So inhale again. Exhale all the air out. Push out any extra air. Hold that exhale out and draw in the belly. Um, yeah, so hopefully you can kind of feel that. Um, again, my teacher would have us practice that like before our practice pretty frequently, just so that we could remember that, like what the ujjayi breath feels like. And again, we're only using like a percentage of that in the practice. So, but that's just kind of a nice way to understand what that is supposed to feel like. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and jump into the practice part of this week's lesson. Um, just one more thing I want to talk about before we get into that. And I'm just going to do it today, but in Ashtanga, we do have an opening chant and a closing chant that we do. And so we So I'm just going to do it today. I think in the future, we can do kind of like a callback thing. We'll all do part of it, and then you can do part of it. I'll also post another video on this channel of just the chanting if you want to look at that. Or you can also like YouTube Ashtanga Yoga opening chant, closing chant. There's many, many videos of this because we all do the same chant. And it's really a way to kind of bookend and seal our practice into this like sacred space. It is in Sanskrit. And the opening chant basically is clearing the space, honoring this space as a sacred space. So it's clearing it, getting it ready for the practice. It's also acknowledging and thanking the lineage, for everyone that's brought this yoga to you, the whole lineage that's come before, all the way back to Patanjali. And it's also recognizing Ashtanga Yoga as a medicine. And then the closing chant, which we'll do at the end, basically, again, is sealing in what we've done. And it's just giving peace and well-being to beings everywhere, which I just think is so beautiful. And I think it's so true of what this practice is. I mean, again, we're learning to regulate our nervous system. And even if we don't go out and teach anyone, that alone is like helping to heal the whole world. And so what we're doing on the mat, again, we can take the lessons off the mat into the world for ourselves to keep ourselves in this like state of peace and amidst the chaos. But with us having that and having that peace and having that regulated nervous system, like that is a gift to the whole world, and we want to share that peace with everyone. And so that's basically what the closing chant is saying. So really beautiful. So I'll start before I jump in and actually do suryanamaskar B. I am going to just open with the chant, and then when we finish the class today, I'll do the closing chant. And again, I'll post a video. If you're interested in like looking up the translation, you can easily Google that, or you can send me an email and I can email you kind of the translation, like word for word, what it means. So I'm going to now just demonstrate suryanamaskar B, padangustasana, and hastasana, and then we'll break it down like we do. Okay. Vande Gurunam Charanarvande Sandhya Shita Swatma Sukha Babode Nishreyase Jangalekayamane Samsara Khala Khala Moha Shantye Abahu Parushakaram Shenga Chakrasi Dharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Okay, so as you can see, suryanamaskar B is very similar to suryanamaskar A. There are a lot of the same movements and breath, just a little bit of a variation, and then some extra breaths in there and some extra movement. So let's break it down and do it together. Okay, so again, this is coming right after suryanamaskar A. So you hopefully have been working on those this past week. The goal of those is to get to 5 in a row. As soon as you're done with your 5th one, we go right into B. And so we end A in samastitihi, so we begin B in samastitihi. Now, for the inhale, the first inhale in B, we actually bend our knees and come into like chair pose. So you can either bring your arms like to brush your legs here. I like to go all the way down and like brush my fingertips on the mat. But basically, you're going to inhale, bend the knees, and then raise the arms up. And arms are at like a 45-degree angle. They're not like above your head. 45-degree angle, head slightly back, looking at the thumbs. Okay, so inhale, bend the knees, arms come up 45 degrees, head back, looking at the thumbs. That's your full inhale. Exhale, we're going to fold, hinging at the hips, bringing the hands to the ground. Again, here, if you need to bend your knees to get your hands down, go ahead. So that's our exhale. Bring your head in, fold in all the way. Inhale, head comes up, flat back. Again, just like an A, I'd come into my fingertips. You can come up to your shins if that feels better. But anyway, head up, flat back. Then we jump into our chaturanga. It's the same as in A. So this chaturanga, up dog, down dog, we do a lot in the practice, okay? So again, you had practice with it in suryanamaskar A, and it's gonna come up a bunch. So that part, the chaturanga, the up dog, the down dog, that's like our vinyasa. And so it's gonna come up a lot. So I'm gonna try to break it down again for everyone. And you're just gonna keep practicing, but it's a great way to like revisit that specific part from suryanamaskar 8. So we're gonna break it down again, okay? So I think the 3 first breaths, not too bad, right? Pretty easy, okay. The next 3 though, as you remember from suryanamaskar 8, it's exactly the same the next 3. But remember, when we do the chaturanga, it's 1 full exhale. So really slow the breath down because you gotta, especially if you're new, we're gonna do step, step, and then we're gonna lower all the way down. So you need to do all of that in 1 exhale breath. If you're just beginning and it takes you more than 1 breath and you gotta breathe more in between, like that's fine. But once you understand the movements more, it's gonna be just 1 full exhale, okay? And then again, like when I did it, how I do it is I jump back and then I like hover. But for like the beginner's sakes, and if you want to do that, that's great. But for beginner's sakes, we're gonna step, step, and then lower all the way down, meaning we're bringing our bellies and like our legs down to rest on the mat. Okay, so let's just do it from the beginning. Samastitihi. Ekam, we're gonna inhale, bend the knees, hands up, looking at the thumbs. Exhale, we're gonna fold all the way in, hands to the ground, head comes in. Inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands down on the mat, and we're gonna step, step, lower down. Elbows are right tucked into your ribs, coming all the way down. Then we're gonna inhale, up dog, pushing into the hands, straightening the elbows, head, shoulders come back, looking up at the nose. And then exhale, we're gonna curl our toes under, pushing into the hands as we bring our hips up and back. And then finding your placement in down dog. Now, instead of resting here, what we're gonna do this time, let me get my feet more in the camera. So from here, instead of taking 5 breaths, we just exhale, and then we take this is again all in 1 exhale. We're gonna turn our left foot out. Depending on how tight your hips are is where like your foot placement's gonna be. Mine are pretty open, so I usually open my foot pretty wide. If you can only open it like 45 degrees, that's fine. If you can go a little wider, great. But basically, you're going to turn your left foot out. Your left heel should be kind of like in the middle line of your mat. Middle, maybe a little bit to the left. Okay, so you're doing that. Then your right foot is going to come up between your hands so that you're kind of like this. Okay, so your hands are still down and now your feet are planted. So your left foot again is turned out, your right foot is between your hands. So let's just do that part again. We're going to go from up dog, down dog into that. So now again, just like our chaturanga, how it's one exhale breath to do step, step, lower down. This exhale from up dog, and then we exhale on our down dog, and we're still exhaling as we set up our feet. So again, we're doing a lot of movements in one breath, okay? So slow the breath down and try to like make the movements a little quicker to pair them perfectly, okay? So let's just go down on the ground. We're down all the way. Our hands are by our shoulder width. Our elbows are in, tucked in. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, up dog. And then exhale, down dog, still exhaling. We're turning that left foot out. We're bringing the right foot up. Then from here, feel solid in your feet. You're gonna put all of the weight in the feet because you're gonna inhale, bringing your arms up. Okay, and when we're in this, we want our hips to be as square forward as possible. Again, if your hip is not that open, it's going to take some practice, but that's okay. So what you can also do from this like lunge position, if that's too extreme to go all the way up, or if your hips just aren't open like that, you can bring your hands to your knee and try to like see how far up you can go. Okay, so let's try that. And then basically after that, we're going to do it on the other side. So let's go through the whole thing up to that point, and then we'll move on from there. So, samasthiti. Inhale, we're going to bend the knees, raise the arms up, looking up with the thumbs. Exhale, folding in all the way. Inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, hands come down, chaturanga, step, step, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Turn the left foot out. Right foot comes up. That's all exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms come down. And we're going to bring that right foot back down and chaturanga again. Okay. So when we're in this, here, we come up. What we do next is again kind of like this chaturanga, but a one-legged. So we're going to exhale, bring the hands flat, bring the right foot back, lower down. Then it's a repeat. So we're going to inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog, other side. So we're going to turn the right foot out, bring the left foot forward, all on an exhale. Get steady in the legs because we're going to inhale, arms come up, or bring your hands to your knee. And then again, exhale, hands come flat, bring the left foot back, lower all the way down, chaturanga. Then from here, it's an up dog. Exhale, down dog. And now that we've done both sides, this last down dog is our resting spot. So 5 breaths here. Again, hands about shoulder width, feet are about hip width. Pushing into the hands. Bending the knees if you need to get your back straight. Looking towards the belly button, chin to chest. After 5 breaths, we're going to jump or step our feet between our hands. So step, step, inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, fold in. And then inhale, bend the knees and bring the arms up. Samasthiti. So again, you can see there's a lot of similarities to suryanamaskar A. but just those extra things. If you want to like rewind and go back through that, go right ahead. But that's basically it. And so the goal for B, I think when you're first starting out, even just getting 1, 2 in. But if you're really into it, especially now while the practice is still short, while you're still just doing the sun salutations and maybe some standing, the closing, if you're really into it and you want to, like, do 5. So do 5 and 5. For people that maybe have a longer practice, or in a lot of shalas, it's 5 suryanamaskar A and 3 suryanamaskar Bs. Okay, so try to make that your goal. Again, if you want to go above and beyond, do 5 and 5, but try to do 5 and 3. But yeah, I think the hardest part again is, as always, right? Just going from the knowing where your body goes and feeling comfortable so that you can do it quick enough to do it all in one breath, especially those exhales where we're doing a lot of things. But that's Surya Namaskar B. And so with that again, Surya Namaskar A and B, it's kind of like the warm up. We're getting everything going, we're moving. And now we're going to move into the standing sequence. So today we're going to learn the first 2 of the standing sequence, padangustasana and padahastasana. There's no vinyasas in the standing sequence. So while we're learning the standing, it's just going to be learning different poses or asanas. So for padangustasana. So, okay. So we're ending in B, right? So we just did our Surya Namaskar Bs. So we're inhale, exhale samasti. And while you're still exhaling, you're going to jump or step your feet like hip width apart, maybe a little bit closer together than hip width apart. So that's all on the same exhale. So you finish B, samasti, exhale samastitihi, still exhaling. We're going to jump or step our feet apart. Hang on, let me just make sure I'm doing this right on the right breath. Yes. Okay. So yes, exhale while you're still exhaling from Surya Namaskar B, step jump. Then on an inhale breath, you're gonna reach down, grab your toes. So you're grabbing your toes. So it's kind of like this claw. So you grab around your big toe with your 2 fingers, and then you just hold on to your toe like that. So with an inhale, you reach down, grab your toes, and then head up, flat back. And then after that, we're gonna just exhale, and we're gonna bring, like, fold all the way in. And again, here, if your hamstrings are tight or you're new to the practice and it's just not quite that open yet, go ahead and bend your knees. But you want to bring your head into your knees or into your shins. And we're looking like up towards the belly button. And we hold that for 5 breaths. And then, of course, the more you do the practice, the more your body naturally is getting more flexible. You can start to really straighten your legs out there. So exhale, and then we do 5 breaths. After the 5th breath, the last exhale, we're going to inhale, still holding onto our toes, bringing our head up, flat back. And then we take a resting exhale here. And then we move into padahastasana. So padahastasana, very similar. We have the same setup with our feet, but this time we take our hands. So we had our fingers around our toes. This time we're going to take our hands like this. And so basically, like, the sole of your foot is going to touch the palm of your hand. So again, feet are in the same place. We have an exhale here. Then you put one hand under, I usually do the right first and the left, or you can do both at the same time. So that, yep, so your hand is under your foot. The sole of your foot is touching the palm of your hand. So that's on an inhale. And you again do like as much as you can. Head up, flat back. Maybe not so flat at the back, but head up. And then exhale to fold in here. And then 5 breaths here. And then same thing, after the 5th breath, we're going to inhale, head up, and then we're going to exhale here, and then release, and then step or jump back, your feet back together. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is just really quickly go through, we'll just do 2 suryanamaskar A's, 1 B. We're going to do the closing 3, and then I'll do the closing chant, and we'll finish out for today. Again, on your own practice, try to get to 5 and 5 or 5 and 3, or any combination. But again, since it's new, I don't want to overload you. So we're going to do 2 and 1 today. And then we're going to do what we know from the standing, and then the closing 3. And then I'll do the closing chant, and we'll close out today. Okay. So starting with suryanamaskar A, samastitihi. Inhale, arms up, looking at the thumbs. Exhale, fold. Head comes in. Inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, hands come down. We're going to step, step, lower down, elbows in. Inhale, up dog, push into the hands, straight elbows, head comes back. Exhale, pushing into the hands, pushing the hips back and up, down dog for 5. 1, looking towards the belly button. 2. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, step, step, head up, flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, arms come up all the way up. Exhale, samastitihi. A again. Inhale, arms come up above the head. Exhale, hands come flat to the floor. Fold all the way in. Inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, step, step, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog for 5. Finding your foot and hand placement, spreading the fingers. 1. Finding stillness and taking a rest here, looking towards the belly button. 2. Bending the knees if you need to. 3. Pushing the hips back. 4. 5. Step, step, head up, flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, stand all the way up, looking up at the thumbs. Exhale, samastitihi. Good. Now we're going to jump into B. So inhale, bend the knees, arms come up 45 degrees, looking at the thumbs. Exhale, fold in, hands flat, folding all the way in. Inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, step, step, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, big breath, up dog. And now exhale, down dog, turn the left toes out, bring the right foot between the hands. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands come flat to the ground, right foot goes back, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog, other side. So exhale, Turn the right toes out. Left foot comes between the hands. Steady here. Inhale, rise up, hands up, look up at the thumbs. Exhale, hands come back, down, left foot back, chaturanga down. Inhale, big up dog. Exhale, down dog. Again, find your spacing and find stillness as we rest here for 5. 1. Good place to catch your breath if you're out of breath. 2. Breathing through the nose, breathing with sound. 3. 4. 5. And then we're gonna step, inhale, head up, flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, bend the knees, raise the arms. Exhale, samastitihi, and then we're gonna jump right away into padangustasana. So we're gonna inhale to grab the toes, head up. Exhale, we're gonna fold in as much as you can, bending your knees if you need to. For 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, head comes up. Exhale, we stay here. Inhale, switch your hands. Bring the palms of your hands under the soles of your feet. Head up. Exhale, fold in for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, head up. Exhale there. And then you can release your hands, stand up, and either jump or step your feet together. Good. And then we're going to just go ahead and sit down on our mats, and we're going to do the closing 3. So we're going to start with Baddha Padmasana. So again, binding your lotus if you can, or sitting however you want, grabbing your elbows or your wrists. So you get your setup. And then we're going to inhale to sit tall, and then exhale, fold. 10 breaths. Remember, slow the breathing down here. 1, 2, still breathing through the nose, breathing with sound. 4, looking towards the tip of your nose. 5, 6, 7, 8. Enjoying that sound of the ocean waves crashing, rolling out. 9, 10. Inhale, Yoga Mudra. So we're taking Jnana Mudra. Pointer and thumb, fingers touching, the other 3 spread out. Not spread out, but pushing out. Back of our hands to our knees. Shoulders back. Jalandhara Bandha, so bringing the chin to the chest. 10 of your slowest breaths of the whole practice. One. Two. Three. Breathing with sound. Gaze should be past the tip of your nose, watching your chest rise and fall with every breath. 4. 5. 6. Keeping the elbow straight. Fingers are working too. 7. 8. 9. 10. And now uplutihi. So again, whichever way your feet are, we're just gonna bring our hands down and lift our bodies up. Again, even if your feet stay on the ground, if you can't do your lotus, again, you can do this and keep your feet even on the ground. If you can lift your feet and your butt, great. But if you need to keep your feet on the ground to lift your butt, no problem. Just again, always try to attempt uplutihi. Try your best. Try to do better than you did the day before. And just see how it goes. Again, trying to get to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Now I'm just going to do the closing chant. So normally at the end of practice, there is another vinyasa. So where we end standing, where we do the chant. But for this class, we won't do that until we get to the closing so that we have more time practicing the vinyasa before we stick another one on the end of the practice. So if you want to go ahead and just lay back into sukhasana or easy pose, I'm just going to do the closing chant and then I will also be taking my resting pose. Swasti prajabhyaha paripalyantam nayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyaha shupamastanityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. While you're laying here in your easy resting pose, what I like to do is just kind of like take note of like my spine. So first I just get comfortable on the earth, right? Try to feel as supported as I can on the earth. And then I just bring my attention to my spine. And sometimes like I notice my head kind of lifts, right? Because like my cervical spine is like active and it'll move my head kind of back and forth. Sometimes like the low back. But I think it's just really interesting to, again, just like feel the subtle changes in the spine all the way up and down after your practice. So just another area in the practice where we can use it as a tool for just self-awareness and self-observation. So when you're ready, you're just going to inhale your head, your hands above your head. Then exhale, turn to either side. Inhale to sit up. And then before we close out the practice today, again, we'll do more like of the opening and closing chant together in future classes. But what I want to do is just do a couple ohms together, just to get you in like the practice of chanting. And so Om is like the primordial sound of the universe, and so it just really like means everything, right? Everything is contained in the sound Om. But again, I really want you to just start to get comfortable with chanting. Even if you just chant Om at the beginning and ending of your practice, again, just to kind of clear the space and seal the space, and to radiate out that peace and that well-being to everyone everywhere. Also, again, just another tool for like this self-observation. And like I remember the first time like I ohmed with like my yoga group, it just was like, oh wow, like this is really cool. Like you feel the vibrations in your head, you know, you can feel it like in your heart. You can feel these vibrations throughout your body, and it's just such another cleansing thing you can do. So I really just want us to do. We're just going to do 5 ohms together, and I'll start it. Feel free to jump in. You know, if you live with other people and you feel awkward, like you can ohm in your car, you can ohm when you're alone. If you don't care, even better. But it really just feels nice, and it's cleansing, it's clearing, and it's a good way to kind of just start getting comfortable with and getting in the practice of chanting. Um, so it's kind of like an aum, and then at the end too, you really want to elongate the and the more confident you get, like the louder you can be. So again, we'll just do 5 together. So just sit again in your comfortable seated position. Try to keep your spine straight. And I think for chanting, it's really nice to close your eyes so that again you can go internal and feel those vibrations throughout your body. So we'll just do 5. So inhale. So we inhale and then we om on the exhale. So inhale. All right, so I hope that you we're able to kind of feel that, and keep practicing that on your own as well. If you still for some reason are just not comfortable like doing that, even another thing my teacher had us do, I think it's called Ramori breathing. But after our practice, she would have us like, if it was a lead class, she would have us like all lay in sukhasana and then just inhale and then exhale, like hum. So mm, and she would just have us do that 10 times. So that's another thing you could try. But it's all about like getting that, feeling that vibration inside and kind of shaking things up, clearing things out. Um, but yeah, so if you want to do anything like that before and after your practice, it's just a really good way to honor the practice a little more and kind of just clear your space. Um, but yeah, that is it for today. So I just want to close out like we always do. So just sitting again comfortably. Touch your hands to the ground. Acknowledge the earth below your feet. Hands come up, acknowledging the heavens above your head, bringing the palms together and down into the heart space, recognizing where those two places meet right in the middle of the heart, to always remind us to lead with love and gratitude. Namaste.